Hey guys, what's going on? Today I just have to get something off my chest. We're going to be talking about a brand new product that I feel like has been a game changer. It's been pretty revolutionary. It got great reviews when it first came out, but lately the reviews have been, just so-so. And that product is the DJI Osmo Pocket. I feel like I need to set the record straight on a few things. I'm going to be talking about some of the recent reviews and one review in particular, and just address some of the concerns that people may have out there. Now, I'm not going to say what this specific review is, but if you want to go search for it, be my guest. In this review, the issues that were addressed were from pretty normal concerns all the way down to some ridiculous stuff. And so let's get the ridiculous stuff out of the way first off. Look at the size of this thing. It is absolutely tiny. Fits right in your pocket just like the name says. No one would even know it's there. You can just pull this thing out, record some footage, and go about your day. This reviewer said the parts were too small. That seems a little bit odd to me. You can't really have it both ways. You can't have a pocket gimbal that is small and fits in your pocket and have the parts be large, or I'm not exactly sure where they were trying to go with it. But this was the main part in question, right here. Let's see if we can get that focused. There we go. That's the cell phone hookup right there. Now they said, that part's too small. It's going to get lost. I'll never be able to find it. There is a cover that goes over this spot, and they were also complaining that that was going to get lost. Here's my advice to address that. Just don't take this part off. DJI did not mean for this part to be removed once it's on there. Sure, you can remove it. It takes a little bit of pull, but you can get it off of there. But DJI did not mean for this part to be removed. And I'll show you what I mean. This is the case, right here. Now you see right there at the bottom, there is a small hole in the case. What's that for, you ask? Well, the Osmo Pocket goes in there, and the hole is there. Just for the part for your phone to stick out just a little bit. Now, you might think that that will get in the way in your pocket, but it won't. I walk around with this thing in my pocket all the time. Never had any issue. It's on there securely. Don't have to worry about the parts getting broken. It's actually pretty great, if you ask me. So that's the first issue, the size of the parts, which I found to be the most ridiculous. Let's talk about some of the actual functionality issues. So one of the big issues that reviews have brought up, negative reviews have brought up, are the slow motion. So there is a 4x slow motion, 120 frames per second option on the DJI Osmo Pocket, which I think is amazing. Now, I'm going to show you an example real quick of my dogs in slow motion. And as you can see, the slow motion is completely usable. I don't know where the complaints are coming for on this. They have an issue with how it crops in, and they say it's not that sharp. I don't have an issue personally with the sharpness, but yes, it does crop in for the slow motion. However, people tend to forget that most cameras crop in when it comes to recording even something as simple as 4K. Unless you're willing to shell out thousands of dollars for a high-end brand new Sony, you're going to have to crop in. My Sony A9 that I use doesn't crop in 4K. However, that's a $4,500 camera. This gimbal costs about $300. So you have to understand that the price point and the features are going to be different. And that's, I think, what a lot of people are misunderstanding about this tool. That it is a tool and it's at a certain price point, and you can't expect it to match something that's going to cost thousands of dollars. You can't expect it to match your GH5s or your Sony A7 IIIs or your Canons or your Nikons. It's just not that. It's meant to be a pocket gimbal. It's meant to pull out, capture some quick footage on the go, to do some vlogging. And let's talk about the vlogging. People complain about the vlogging sound. Now, I will say, this is a valid concern. I'll show you a clip with sound, and you can be the judge. I don't think the sound is bad, but I have experienced there is some terrible wind noise whenever the wind is blowing. We have the I'm interested to see what the accessory, the external mic that comes out, does for that wind noise, but right now the wind noise is pretty bad. So if you're outside with it, I would say it's not that great to be used, but I wouldn't say it's the perfect vlogging camera. I don't use it for vlogging. I use cameras like this one that I have right here, the Sony RX100 Mark V, or sometimes I bust out my GoPro. And let's talk about that, because people seem to compare the GoPro Hero 7 Black and the Osmo Pocket like they're apples to apples. And I don't think that they are. I own both of them, and I don't think that they're similar in any way. Now, the reason people compare them are because GoPro has this brand new electronic stabilization that is very good. It is a game changer in certain conditions. Now, in low light, the GoPro is absolutely unusable. It's completely and utterly awful. And the DJI, although there have been some concerns about the low light expressed, I personally think the DJI is actually very good. And I'll show you in some clips from Christmas Parade as well as Christmas at the Biltmore in Asheville, North Carolina. So you can see the low light performance and you can judge for yourself. Wish I would have had this thing then, instead of my shaky hand. So this thing actually does really well in the night, surprisingly, for having a cell phone sensor. This last low light comparison I'm going to show you is a comparison between the Osmo Pocket and my Samsung Galaxy Note 9. Now, as you can see, not only is the 9 footage worse, but it crops in so much just on regular 4K that it is absolutely ridiculous. So people who are complaining about the DJI Osmo Pocket cropping in, the 4K on it, the regular 4K, does not crop in. It looks really, really good. It's at the 28 millimeter, I think is what it is. It's a 80 millimeter, or it's an 80-degree field of view is what it is. And the Note normally is a 77-degree field of view. But as you can see in the 4K, I recorded these in the same location. It just crops in so much, and the Osmo Pocket does not do that. Now you can complain about it cropping in on the 120 frames 1080p, and it does do that. But in the review that I saw, it said you had to stand back around 50 feet away from somebody to capture them with the 120p. That is utterly ridiculous. In the video of my dogs running around, I was probably 20-30 feet from them, and you can see that they don't even fill the frame. So that was an extreme statement, to say the least. But that review did have a few extreme statements, and that's why I needed to make this video. Now, in closing, is this camera perfect? Of course not. No camera is perfect. It doesn't matter if you spend $300 or $30,000 on a camera. No camera is going to be perfect, let's be honest. But just like everything in your toolkit, you need to know how to use it. You need to know your tools, and you need to know their limitations. And I'll tell you a few of the limitations I've experienced on the DJI Osmo Pocket. I would say my biggest issue with it, if I had a biggest issue, the biggest issue would be the fact that you can't change the aperture. Now I understand on a sensor that small, it's very, very difficult to have a manual aperture. I get that. But I wish that DJI would have at least had the ability, like on their drones, to put on ND filters. And that way you could make a more cinematic shutter speed when you're outdoors. I'll show you an example of what I mean. It's not terrible, but whenever you're trying to shoot cinematic stuff, it does get a little bit robotic just due to the high shutter speeds that you need to use. So check out this example and you'll see what I mean. Another thing that does need to be addressed is the wind noise. The wind noise is absolutely terrible. I will say the GoPro does a fantastic job on the wind noise. I don't know how it does it. I think it blocks out one of the mics to keep the wind, whichever mic the wind is coming in, it just blocks it out, because sometimes the noise will go out. That's not that huge of a deal because you're not going to be using a GoPro for extreme cinematic work. You're going to be using external mics for that kind of thing. And that's how I feel about the Osmo Pocket as well. People are so quick to just write off GoPro. Oh, you're not going to be using that for professional cinematic work. But then they expect you to be able to use the Osmo Pocket for that. And I feel like they are, while they're not the same camera by any means, like people seem to compare them, they are in the same type of category, and that is a camera that simply gets the shot. A camera that is the best camera. Like Chase Jarvis said, the best camera is the one you have with you. That's what a GoPro is. That's what the DJI Osmo Pocket is. And they are fantastic for that job. They are not professional cameras by any means. I use the GoPro for just capturing all the time action for when I'm hiking, for when I'm biking, etc., etc. And the Osmo Pocket might be some B-roll mixed in. But if I'm going to do a big time video, I'm going to be using something like my A6500, my RX100 Mark V, my A9, something like that. I'm not going to be using these tools that are simply there to get the shot. They're not there to get a professional shot, but just get the shot. So honestly, that's really about it. Number one, if you get the DJI Osmo Mobile, you should know what you're getting into. It is not going to be the video quality of a 1-inch sensor, of a micro four thirds sensor, of a crop sensor, and definitely not a full frame sensor. It's going to be a cell phone sensor, so expect cell phone like results. That's not a bad thing. Cell phones can get great results if you know their limitations, just like on the DJI Osmo Mobile. And know that it's in a certain price point. It's about $300, $350, something like that. So don't expect $3,000 quality out of it. It's just not going to be like that. But know that for what you're getting, it's a great cinematic tool. It's definitely a game changer with its size. It fits right in your pocket, and it can be used for shots that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I do want to throw out there that I did pay full price for the Osmo Mobile. I did pay full price for the GoPro Hero 7 Black. So I'm not biased. In a lot of the reviews, people are saying, oh, everyone got sent these and they feel like they need to leave a good review because they got sent it for free. Well, that's not me. This is my unbiased opinion after using both of these tools. And if you want to check them out for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below. But thanks so much for checking out the video, guys. Until next time, I'll see you later.